high-speed descents, breathtaking cliff drops, jaw-dropping tricks, all in one of the most picturesque settings on the planet. The Southern Utah landscape once again hosts one of the most spectacular events that this sport has ever known. Freeride mountain biking's elite return for the 12th edition of Rampage. You're watching the Red Bull Signature Series. Hey everybody, Soundmaster Kelly here, your host of the Red Bull Signature Series, and allow me to welcome you to the outskirts of Zion National Park in southern Utah to the little town of Virgin. This is one of the most unique events in sports, not only for the spectacular and daunting runs that these riders execute, but no other sport allows the competitors a blank canvas to physically build their own individual courses. The riders, armed with only shovels, pickaxes, and sandbags, and each allowed 2 diggers, carve out their lines, build their takeoffs, and set their landings. This is all over the course of 8 days and includes practice time leading up to today's finals. In the 12 editions, only 3 men have stood on this podium twice: Kyle Strait, Brandon Semenuk, and Kurt Sorgay. They're all here today, all looking to capture a record 3rd title, but there are plenty of other talented riders that would like nothing better than to upset that quest. Some hope to join the second wing club. Guys like Cam Zink, he is strong. And this year, even a couple of local rookies have joined the start list. Our first competitor is about to drop. It is about to be on. So we're going to check in with Todd Harris and Cam McCall.
Thank you, Sal. It is very unforgiving land here in Virgin, Utah. But for the 12th edition of Red Bull Rampage, we have pulled out all the stops. Cam, you've been to the majority of these events. What is it about this that brings these athletes back year and year to really push the limits?
It's a unique day that only happens once a year. It catches lightning in a bottle. That venue just sits there dormant all year, and nobody rides from top to bottom except for this one day, and that day's today.
All right, you've been watching practice and seeing the guys go through their paces. Who do you like, and who do you think is really in touch with this course this year?
Conventional wisdom always tells you to keep an eye on Cam Zink and what he's been lining up in practice all week. And if he stomps the tricks that are being whispered, the rumors, if they're true, he could have a good chance of walking away with it.
All right, before we get to the first run, let's check in with the 3rd member of our crew. Here is Tina Dixon.
Well, first off, if you guys are watching this event, congratulations. You are in for a huge treat. You're also in for probably a couple nerve-wracking moments, and you may even feel your heart jump out of your chest a couple times. You may even say, wow, those guys are absolutely crazy. And that is okay, because the majority of the population, they wouldn't even touch this mountain. But you have to also remember that everything you see on this mountain is calculated down to the T. Now look behind me. That is Cam Zink's line. It measures about 62 degrees. And I asked Cam about it, and he said, you know, when I first look at the mountain, if I can visualize it, I know it can be done. And it's a process from putting the shovel in the dirt. They take it step by step all the way to competition day. And you also have to remember, it's not just an 8-day build, but this event, Red Bull Rampage, is an accumulation of a lifetime of riding, guys.
Well said, Tina, as we get set for the first rider to get this thing underway, the 12th edition of Red Bull Rampage here in Virgin, Utah. And Cam, before we get to Brett Reeder dropping in, we got to take a look at this course because, again, it is so daunting, and every rider has his chance to leave his mark.
Well, this venue, it's really hard to wrap your head around the magnitude of this terrain. The best way to do it is to walk around like Tina's doing right now. But the next best is to take this aerial view we're looking at, provided by DJI. This is the 2nd year at this venue, and it's the steepest venue ever in the history of this event. It's the only venue that's impossible to walk up within the boundary flags. The riders can choose anywhere in between the two ridges to choose their line. And you see right now, take out those manicured paths and goat hills and lips and landings, and you have completely unrideable terrain. So a lot of credit goes out to the builders for sculpting this magnificent course.
And Cam, you have been a builder and you have been a rider here before. What is it like to try to create a line out of what you've been given by Mother Nature?
Well, you look at stuff and you have these crazy ideas, but you're not sure if you're actually going to make it possible. And that's why they have so much time leading into the event day to make it all possible. We're looking at the steepest line in the history of the event right there. And the great thing about this year is that this is the second year at this venue, so they're able to build upon what they created and started last year.
Really out in the middle of nowhere here in Virgin, Utah, in southern Utah. You're about a 5-hour drive from Salt Lake City, about a 2-hour drive from Las Vegas. But right now, this could be the landscape on Mars as we get set to watch the best riders in the world, really, Cam, put it all on the line. And the man that gets the honor of doing just that is Canadian Brett Reeder, the 24-year-old from Vernon, BC, set to drop.
Number 1, Brett Reeder. 3, 2, 1. Reeder outside.
Well, Reeder on course, and those of you at home may recognize this name. This is a big shot in the slopestyle world tour. You saw him at Red Bull Joyride, but he's one of the few riders who branches out and competes at this big mountain event as well. This is the only event of its kind. And Brett Reeder, one of only 3 riders in the field today who compete in both slopestyle and big mountain freeride.
Just see how steep that is, and Reeder just making it look so easy, methodically picking his way through his line.
He has a unique section here,
and
of course he's got to sprinkle in the tricks that we know him for, a flat drop backflip, linking it right into a 360 drop. So really playing toward his strengths, getting those tricks in there. But watching this kid in practice, I know he has something really big planned for this last jump, but he's been taking a lot of hits. Let's see if he can land it when it counts. Oh, a cork 720! Oh, under rotation for Brett Reeder.
So the unforgiving terrain bites the first rider here at Red Bull Rampage. Good to see Brett Reeder up and riding. That was a sensational run to that point, Cam. He cleans that up, he could be on the podium.
Well, he looked really on point. He's coming off of an injury. He's been battling a knee problem all year. So to see him show up to this event and look that strong at the top portion of his line is really great, but that trick really took him out there at the bottom.
So the judges looking for something a little cleaner here from Brett Reeder.
So in the technical terrain at the top, this is where you want to just maintain control. Fluidity is definitely an important part of the judges' criteria, but tricks is another one. He sent that flat drop backflip deep down the landing, but here's the trick where the train came off the tracks, the cork 720. He under rotates. Part of the reason for that is he's trying to adapt a trick from slopestyle to this big mountain terrain on that gigantic downhill bike.
2 runs, your best score counts. Reeder checks in with a 43, so he'll certainly be looking to run number 2. But first, he'll have to wait for the rest of the world's best to compete on their first runs. We are just getting started here at Rampage in Virgin, Utah, and you're watching the Red Bull Signature Series. Back in Virgin, Utah, this is Red Bull Rampage, part of the Red Bull Signature Series. One man has gone, and that was Brett Reeder. Had issues at the very bottom as we go to the top, and this was Ethan Nell just a short time ago. He comes from St. George, Utah, just 45 miles down the road.
Well, what more can you say about this kid? He's the rookie. He's the hometown hero. Plenty of people out in the audience cheering for this kid right now. The world knew he had it in him to compete out here with the best in the world at Rampage, and after dropping in for his first ever competition run, he proved that he belongs.
Yeah, Ethan Nell checks in with a decent score, a nice 77. And the great story here, Cam, he used to be a digger for some of these pro riders that are competing now, and here he is on the biggest stage in the sport.
Yeah, great to see him climbing the ladder. Can't wait to see his second run.
All right, this next rider is known for pioneering new ground here at Rampage. American Cam Zink was the first to 360 a drop over 30 feet and the first to backflip a drop over 30 feet. But what does it take to go first? For more, let's check in with Sal Masakela.
Thank you, Todd Harris. Each year since Rampage's inception in 2001, riders, judges, and spectators have arrived at this event and labeled certain lines or drops impossible, can't be done. Then one rider scopes it out quietly, challenges that, and suddenly proves everybody wrong. But this is where things get interesting. After the impossible feat is achieved, suddenly several riders follow, like it was easy. How's that possible? What happens in our minds once we visualize something can actually be accomplished? Why is it so much easier to go second? And more importantly, what does it take to go first?
For the first time in Red Bull Rampage history.
Once the very first Rampage happened, and somebody went, oh my God, you can ride a line down that bluff. Somebody else went, oh, I can ride that line, I can add a little bit more to it. The physical challenge is still the same. The only thing that changed is the mental frame we built around it.
I've been experimenting with angles lately. Anywhere from like 61 to 65 degrees, just trying to get an average on this whole thing, which is steep.
You know, we talk about this as adrenaline sports, as if people are getting off on the field. What they're looking for is like almost a trance-like focus and calm, so focused on what you're doing, everything else just disappears.
It's funny sitting back and looking at how many people are at some of these contests. I just kind of was so focused on the riding and so tenacious that I didn't really let the helicopters or the people or anything get to me.
Technically, it's called transient hypofrontality. Frontality is right here. It's the prefrontal cortex. This portion of the brain gets really, really quiet. It deactivates. We can no longer separate past from present from future. We're plunged into what the researchers talk about as the deep now. So we experience this as liberation, freedom, risk-taking goes up, creativity goes up.
You know, you're at the top, probably the heaviest moment of your life. But I know that I can do it. It's not haunting me like, do I have it in me?
Flow is as close to high-speed, near-perfect decision-making as we can get. And in Rampage, every decision has to be flawless. When he goes through it and it succeeds, he's going to get a little more dopamine. He's going to get a little more focus. He's going to get faster muscle reaction times. And then you get a whole mess of performance-enhancing neurochemicals.
The biggest dirt-to-dirt national train 360 drop in the history of mountain biking.
I just want to see what's possible, and I want to be the one to do it. I'm just drawn to it. It's just in my nature. It's just who I am.
Maybe we'll reach the limits of the human body somewhere along the way, but with Rampage, it doesn't seem like we're getting anywhere close to it right now.
Todd, the reason I have goosebumps right now is because so many historical moments in this sport have started with this guy, Cam Zink, sitting up in that start tower.
So here he goes on his first run. This is 31-year-old Cam Zink from Reno, Nevada. A quick shot of his family waiting for him at the bottom.
All right, so Cam Zink is approaching this steep line. It goes straight down the mountain, point to point, connects him right back to Rider's Right Ridge, controlling his speed. There we go. He's off the first of a handful of head-high drops as he goes down this steep pitch. And he needs to hit this step up. He gets it clean, bumps into the wall a little bit, but he's back up on the ridge.
Carrying so much speed, and he's still got a lot of work to do.
So he has big plans for the middle of this run. He's going to connect to his rhythm section right now, but he's leading his way onto that massive vertical drop that he tried to 360 last year. There's rumors that he might try something different this year. Let's see.
Oh, he goes for it!
Oh, backflip off of the flat drop. There's no kicker there to initiate the rotation on that flip. He's got another. He flips the second drop, too. Oh, huge for Cam Zink. Couple more features. See if he has any more tricks for us.
Why not?
There we go, 450 to finish things off for Cam Zink.
Well, he certainly did the heavy lifting in the top portion of that course, but the bottom certainly was as equally impressive as we've seen from Cam Zink over the years. What a run for Cam Zink here, and that's just the first run of two.
Oh, that's got to feel great there. Getting the congratulatory hugs from his wife, Amanda. His daughter Ayla there congratulating Daddy on probably one of the best runs he's ever done in his life, and that's saying a lot.
Look at the steepness of this. Those are some incredible shots from the DJI drones.
So he makes it look so easy in full speed, but let's look in slow-mo. Watch as those tires just continuously bounce off the ground as he's trying to stay in control. But the biggest move of this run was what we're gonna see coming up right now. It's definitely the biggest flat drop backflip ever done in this terrain. He's on a downhill bike. You see there's no takeoff there to initiate his rotation. He almost over-rotated, but having great air awareness, he was able to move his body appropriately, grab that rear brake, and avoid over-rotating. He crashed on this drop last year, so a lot of redemption right now, stomping an even harder trick. And then to finish things off, an over-rotated 360, about 450 degrees of rotation on that hip. You got to have the tricks all the way down, and Cam Zink filled that run out.
Cam Zink's waiting for his score to come down. It's going to be huge, and he cracks the 90s, a 90.33 for Cam Zink. He goes into first place, and he's standing by with Tina.
Yeah, and I'd say it's safe to say that, Cam, the emotion is running pretty high down here, not only with you, but your family. Take us through that run from the top through those flips.
That was kind of the ride of my life, I guess. I mean, we try to elevate ourselves every time, and every year I'm a better bike rider today than I was yesterday, you know, and trying to just do better every day, and that was the run of my life. I mean, up top is usually when you do a big line like that, like a big steep thing, you know, when you're in it and you don't crash, like it seems easy afterward, but that thing is still terrifying. Like, I'm still terrified of it, and it's scary, and to be able to drop in off the gnarliest big mountain line we've ever seen out here, and then biggest flat flip ever, like, so many. I mean, luckily we have to dig all week.